Hi, all. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira, and oh, there's a little dust bunny. Love that. It's happening, guys. It's all happening. So this is the final video in my declutter series for the end of 2025, and this is the one that I was probably dreading the most because not because I don't want to get rid of things, but the process of going through them and getting rid of them is what I was like, ugh. Decluttering is not always the most fun, and this is not even everything. This is everything that could fit on my desk. I still have a bunch over there and over there, and it's a lot going on over here. So what I'm doing is really try to take a good look at what I have, and I would love if I could fit everything into the drawer set that I have, but I don't think that's going to happen, but that's what I'm moving towards. So because right now I have a drawer set that only has 2 drawers, but they're quite like big, deep drawers. And then I have my makeup desk that has palettes on it. And I really want to sort of move as much as I possibly can to that drawer set and have as little as possible on the actual makeup desk. But I think that that is a pipe dream at this point. I really wish I had gotten the 3-drawer set of this drawer that I have. I got the 2, and then they promptly discontinued this drawer set completely, and so I haven't been able to find its sister like 3-drawer set since. So love that for me, but we're gonna make it work. So let's just get started. There's kind of a mishmash here. I wanted to go by brand, but I don't think that's just not realistic for the way my collection is set up right now. It's not really realistic. It'll be realistic for some of these, but not all of them. I'm definitely at the point where I'm like, I need to have less because it's kind of sort of bleeding out of the area that it's supposed to live in. So let's get into this. We're going to start by what's right in front of me because I already know that there are things in this little pile that I want to get rid of. So let's start. So we have here the Urban Decay. Let me just move something so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have in front of us the Urban Decay Moondust palette. I bought this because I wanted Space Cowboy, even though it's not the right shade for me as far as like shimmer goes, but I was really interested in this palette for what it offered, you know, these like nice, interesting tones of shimmer. I really like Cosmic Space Dust. I think of the 4 of these, Cosmic Space Dust is my fave. Space Cowboy, the shimmer in it is more of a silver tone, which isn't really my fave. I usually like something a little warmer. Cosmic Space Dust has a bit more body. I haven't reached for these since I bought this, and I used it for like a decent amount of time. But I haven't thought about this or reached for it in ages, so I'm going to get rid of it. I said to myself that I wasn't going to swatch, and I love that the first palette I open up, I immediately started swatching. Like, really, girl, get it together. And now I have shimmer all over my hand. Love that for me. I also have stains because I just filmed my lipstick declutter, and I have stains of red lipstick on my hands from that. All right, moving on. I have here the Urban Decay Jean-Michel Basquiat. This I do not use. This is just makeup history, and I'm going to keep it as that. I just think it's a beautiful palette, and it's a collectible thing for me. So I'm going to move that to the side. That's not going anywhere. Again, I don't use it. Same goes for these Morte palettes and the Vita palette. I don't use these. These are just makeup history for me. These are probably incredibly expired. But I just love having these. Look how beautiful they are. And I've since had a palette that came into my life recently that reminds me a lot of the Morte palette, but that I think I like the tones of now more than the Morte palette. But these are, again, makeup history. They're not going anywhere. This is the Melt Cosmetics 420 palette. I don't know. I really like this palette. I really like this palette, and I don't feel like I own this kind of range of tones as much as I used to. I used to like be obsessed with this, but I kind of thinned the herd quite a bit. We'll look and see. We'll visit some of the palettes that I own, and we'll see if I have something comparable. But if I don't, I am going to keep this. All right, and next up I have some really interesting OG palettes that I really want to visit and see if I want to keep, because I've had them for ages and I just want to know. So first we're going to start off with the Venus XL 2 palette from Lime Crime, which no longer exists. I believe Lime Crime is out of business now. But look at this palette. These are not even, I'm going to be honest with you guys, this isn't even a great formula. This formula is kind of crap, but I still managed to make looks out of it that I absolutely adored. And I still think about this color story. And I was dreading this declutter because I was thinking about this palette specifically. You know how there's palettes that you know that like you should probably declutter, but you really just don't want to. You really just don't want to because you love them so much. This is that palette for me. I feel like I just want to see if I can find something that is comparable to this color story, because this palette for me, like the shimmers are okay. Like they're okay. But this, Phoenix is like it's like a lot of these are just like satins, which I love. Forbidden, like, oh, I don't know what it is. This is just such a beautiful palette to me, and I want to keep it. Oh, I don't know. I think I want to keep this, and I want to see if I can find something that is comparable so that I can finally let it go. I don't know if it's safe to use on my eyes anymore. I kind of want to just see, but you know, and YOLO it out, but we'll see. I'm going to hold on to it though. As I said, I wasn't going to swatch, but I just had to see how those were performing, and they're performing the same as they ever have. The other Lime Crime I have is the Venus 2. And this one is actually probably the newest of the ones, even though this is one of the OG. When they were having a huge sale on their palettes, I wound up finally picking this one up. And this is like the one that made them incredibly popular. And it's a great palette. I just haven't used it that much, and there are other formulas that are out there now that are better than the Lime Crime formula. At the time, Lime Crime was like one of the few brands that was doing stuff like this and interesting color stories like this. But since then, there have been better formulations out there in the world, and so I think, am I gonna get rid of this? Wow, Pigeon is such a pretty color, but it's not that unique anymore. Like, this is not a unique color. It used to be, but it isn't anymore. I'm gonna do away with this one. I'm gonna let it go. Miss, I'm not swatching. All right, I have two palettes from Muse Beauty, which went out of business, which is unfortunate. But these are the two that I have. Actually, hold on a second. How similar to this is to the Lime Crime? Wow, that's pretty freaking similar, isn't it? Like, are those not like, let me close this one so it's not, aren't those really similar? Look at that. Wow. Not like exactly the same, of course, but very similar. Wow. I was gonna declutter this one, but now I'm like, which one do I keep? Because they're like, I was gonna keep like at least one of them, but like, this is so old. I mean, this is older, but this is a discontinued brand, and I haven't used this in ages. Should I declutter both of them? Should I do both of them, guys? Wow. Am I doing that? I just want to look at Terrace. I mean, that's not that unique of a tone, but it's a tone that I love. I'm going to do away with them both. Wow. Okay. We're really doing the thing here, Amira. All right. Okay. Both of those are gone. Moving on. Now we have Honore, which is the other one from them. And I think I'm going to do away with this one too. Am I though? Yes, I am. All right. Yay! We're decluttering! How exciting. All right. Now we're going to get to the last and final standing palettes that I own from ColourPop. I used to be such a ColourPop girly, you guys. I was such a ColourPop girly, and I have not purchased ColourPop in literally years. And last year's declutter, I did a massive, very brutal declutter of all of the ColourPop that I owned. I got rid of like 90% of it, and this is what remained. These are really beautiful palettes. I love the look of these, but I just feel like it's time to let it all go. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to give them like another perusal. This one I love with my whole heart. I don't know what it is about this color story, guys, but I just love it so much. It's just the bee's knees. And it's survived so many declutters, but I don't reach for it. I don't reach for this palette, but I just love having it and knowing that it exists in my collection. Am I the only person like that? I know I'm not. Like us makeup collectors, sometimes we just like to know that it exists and it's there. And if I want to reach for it, I can, but do I want to? Guys, I don't know. This one is a hard one. I knew the Tinkerbell one was going to get me because I just love this color story. Green is one of my favorite. It's my favorite color. But something about these tones together, this like cool toned like teal and then these bright tones. And then this one is just, oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, she's so pretty. I don't know. I got to think on it. I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it. The Lush Life palette. This is one of the best palettes they came out with a long time ago. I'm going to get rid of this though. Actually, some of it reminds me a little bit of Tinkerbell. A little bit. Not a ton, but like a little bit. A little bit. Okay, I'm going to get rid of Lush Life. I'm going to keep Tinkerbell. But I'm going to get rid of Lush Life because I feel like I have to get rid of something and I need to really like get rid of something. So I'm going to keep Tinkerbell because I love her. There we go. Disaster averted. All right, yeah. All right, so now we have the Limoncello palette. This was one of the best palettes they had come out with. This is the summer when they really came out with some really interesting stuff. I think this palette is absolutely beautiful. Have I reached for it? No. So I think it's time to give it away. Gather around, sisters. I'm going to get rid of this one too. I'm going to do it. I have kept only one ColourPop palette, and it's the Tinkerbell palette. Wow. Who even am I? All right, now let's get to these really old palettes. Not that one, but these. So this is my Milani Soft and Sultry. They don't even make this palette anymore, guys. This is the newer one. I haven't used this, but this is brand spanking new. I think I'm going to keep this. I think I'm going to keep it. I haven't used it. I need to... My goal, again, is by thinning the herd to have access to the things that I like and that I kind of neglected because they weren't in my eyesight, you know, my line of sight, you know, kind of like out of sight, out of mind. This you cannot get anymore. This is a discontinued palette. This is an older palette. It is brand spanking new though. Like it has literally never been used. So I want to keep it, which I'm actually surprised by because I looked at it and I was like, why am I keeping that? But then I opened it and I was like, oh, that's why. Colored Rain. No longer in business. Safari Rain. Look at this. I believe Color Rain is out of business. I could be wrong, but I think they are. Let me know in the comments. But do you remember this? Do you remember this palette, guys? And this is, I think, a newer one. I think. This is not the OG one. I think I had a newer one. Oh my God. Amazon Basin used to be my... Look at this. Look at that. You give me a taupe, a metallic taupe. I am there. Wow. I think I need to let it go. I'm gonna let it go. This is where it's gonna get hard. I used to own all of the Juvia's, like almost all of the Juvia's Place palettes, and I've slowly over the years whittled down my collection. Oh my God. Look at this. I feel like I need to keep it. I've gotten rid of similar color stories, but this is one of my favorite color stories that they've ever done, the Nomad. I don't think this is the best quality, and I don't think Juvia's Place, like when they first came out, they were like, so there weren't a lot of brands doing the kind of color stories that they were doing, but as time has gone on, you know, this isn't the best quality in comparison to what you can get on the market now, and I recognize that, but I still love this palette, and this is my all-time favorite. And this is Tribe. And some of these I might just keep because for the memories, you know. I feel like that's where I'm at with my Juvia's Place. I don't keep them for like wearing them. Oh, I keep them because they're just so, I don't know. I feel so connected to them. This I got one of my all-time favorite looks out of. Every time I look at this, I think about that look, and if I can remember to put a picture up, I will. But I love this palette. I'm keeping all of these. I may not use them, but I'm keeping them. Alrighty, so let's get down to some of my older indie palettes. So, and I said older indie palettes, not new ones. Alright, do you guys know? Look at this bad boy. Look at this. Look at this. this? Do you remember this? This poor Amanda. Lordy B. I know this palette gave her so much trouble. I'm gonna keep this. I don't know if I can use this still. Oh my god, that is hard as a rock. This is completely dried out. Wow. You can't even dip into that. That is... And I think that's the one that was sort of leaking oil, so I'm not surprised by that. I'm gonna keep this, but I'm not gonna put it on my eyes. I'm gonna keep this for the memes. It's just, you can't get that palette anymore. You will never get that palette again because that palette gave her trauma. The launch and the restock of that palette gave her trauma, and I know it did, and I know we're just never gonna get that again. And the same thing with this one. This is the Weirdos palette. This is part of the Halloween collection that she did. She had like that one and then a couple of other little minis. I gotta keep these. They're I don't know. Some of the stuff, guys, is just stuff that like you can't get anymore, and it's like a moment in makeup history, you know, like especially indie makeup. Okay, so this is. I'm probably gonna get rid of these. I've had these forever. They don't even make them in this component anymore. So this is the. This is the Give Me Glow Christmas Morning palette. I don't even know if they still make this palette. This palette. Oof. It's still like butter. Like butter. Wow. 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 Oh, look how flaky and gorgeous that. Good Lord. I remember how popular this palette was. Everyone and their mother was trying to get their hands on this palette, and they discontinued it because it was only supposed to be like a seasonal palette, but it was so popular that they brought it back. I think the next Christmas, and then it kind of became sort of like a semi-permanent thing. I gotta think about this one. This one I'm gonna get rid of. I love this palette, but I've had it forever. I've had it longer than the Christmas Morning palette. I love this color story, but I've had it way too long, and I think it's just time for, if I'm gonna get this, I need to get like the updated version. The final bosses of my ABH palette collection. Do you remember when we used to buy every single one of these? I do. What a time. Wow. Memory lane. This is the Jackie Aina palette. This palette slaps, but it's also very old. Sponsored. Look at, I mean, but I think it's time. I think it's time. Ugh, Lituation. Wigglies. I was obsessed with Wigglies. Soleil. Oh, these were the times. This was the moment of my life. This palette was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It's such a beautiful palette. But again, it's so old and I don't reach for it. Again, I am creating like a curated like memories makeup thing where I can keep things that I know I'm not going to use again, but I just don't want to let go of. So it might go in that. I'm going to think on it. I might put it with the Warms My Blood and, you know, those palettes that I can't use anymore, but that I don't want to part with. I could see myself doing that because this is just, I don't know, it's makeup history, and it's kind of like, yeah, same with this one. This one is still one of my all-time favorite palettes in general. And I'm tempted, I'm actually really tempted, guys, even though I don't really mess with ABH that much. I'm tempted to get the mini version of this because it's fresher, it's cleaner. The only thing it's missing is that orange and a couple of these other shades that I didn't use in the first place. Like the shades that I reached for with this palette were Cinder, Twig, Teak, Cyborg, Ember. That's it. Oh, and sometimes dystopian, but not really. So Cinder, Twig, Teak, Ember, Steampunk, Cyborg. Let me see what the mini palette has in it. What did I do with my phone? Here it is. I want to just see what that mini palette has in it. Okay, so let's see what the mini sultry has in it. I just want to see if it has the shades that I like. Because if it does, it might be worth me purchasing just to have those shades still on hand. It's not in stock anymore. It's out of stock right now. But let me just take a looky-loo and see what it has in it. So, in the mini palette, it has Pearl, Cinder, Twig, Birch, Cyborg, Dystopian, Slate, Ember, and Noir. I really wish it had Teak in it. I really, really wish it had Teak in it, but this is not that unique of a shade. And it doesn't have Steampunk, which is fine. It has most of the shades, guys, that I like. Oh my God. I think, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to do the thing. Am I happy to do the thing? No, but this is a palette that I absolutely, absolutely loved for so long. And it's still a palette that I compare other palettes to. It just is. Like, has ABH fallen off for a variety of reasons? Yes. Did they make makeup that was consequential and to the makeup world? Yes. Two things can be true at the same time. I can't imagine my collection without this palette. And if I can get this palette and have it still be usable for me without all of the extras that I don't wear anyway, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to see if I can find it. Since it's out of stock on Ulta, I might see if it's available somewhere else. This is the Ravina palette. Look how used this palette is. I didn't think I was going to love this palette, and then I, as you can see, got a lot of use out of it. But it's time to let it go. It's old. It's time to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. So she goes bye-bye. Now, this is the newest one that I have in my collection. And I actually really... Hold on a moment. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Are you seeing what I'm seeing here? I'm seeing some things. So I'm going to just do a little swatch party really quickly. I want to see. So this is Locust from that palette. Oh, God, I love this shade so much. Every time I swatch it, I'm like, yes. Let's do Hope. Not quite the same. Belle. Not quite the same. Let's do Wings. Mmm. Mmm. All right, guys. So as you can see, I've swatched both of these palettes, the colors that I like in them as far as the metallics go. The only color that I'm really feeling like I'm going to miss from this palette in comparison to this one is Phoenix. I love this shade. This is my favorite. This and Locust are my favorite shades in this palette. So Phoenix and Locust. But these are like surprisingly like I'm getting this minus this stupid purple, which I don't know why. ABH loves to do this. It drives me insane. They did it with Sultry. Like, why? Why does this exist? The mattes in the Lime Crime are subpar. I'm just gonna say that. ABH still does better mattes. Their mattes aren't as good as they used to be, but they're not bad. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going? You see where I'm going? I need to find a mesh, something that dupes this Phoenix shade. I like the fact that it's a satin. I'm looking for something that isn't super metallic. I like the fact that this is a satin. I really like Forbidden too. I like all the mattes. I love all of the, I'm sorry, the metallics and the satins in this palette. That's what I would keep this palette for. But I'm getting a lot of similar vibes. Like Locust and Hope aren't the same, but the DNA is kind of there, you know? I'm keeping Nouveau. Oh, no. All right, I'm back, guys. I had a bit of a snafu. Some of my palettes fell, and I had to make sure that the babies were okay. All right, so, yeah, I feel like, guys, I'm going to hold on to this, but I'm just going to be comparing. I'm going to put this to the side because I'm just going to be comparing as I go through and see what I have that's comparable to Venus XL, because if so, I can get rid of it. I can get rid of it. So far, I mean, Nouveau isn't exact, but it's giving me the same kind of vibe. And so I think I'm going to keep Nouveau. It's the newest of the two. And the actual overall formula is better. All right. So getting into these palettes here. And I have more Glamlite. So I might hold off on the Glamlite. But let's do the Hudas. Because I don't own a lot of Huda. I only have 3 Hudas. And I think all of them are going to stay. Except, well, let's explore. Wild is my fave of all of the 3. It's the small one. It's beautiful. It's stunning. I love it. This shade alone, this shade, like, yeah, that stays. Pretty grunge. This palette I had mixed feelings about. I wanted to like it, but I didn't love it. I didn't. I wanted to, but I didn't. So I think I'm going to declutter Pretty Grunge. It's the newest of the ones that I've purchased from the brand, but it's also the one that I like the least. So I'm going to get rid of this. All right, now we have Empowered, which I actually really love this palette. I'm going to keep this. So I'm keeping Wild and Empowered. Next up, we have a couple of just random palettes that were in my bottom drawer that I want to go through with you guys. And it's just these three here. So I showed you the other Unearthly palettes that I own. I don't own a lot of Unearthly. I really like Unearthly. I just don't own a lot of them. I always find myself like wanting to purchase more, and then just because I own so much eyeshadow, I'm just kind of like, no, I don't need to. Anyway, so this is Spring Magic, and this is the palette that they came out with in spring of last year, and I received this in PR. It's beautiful, as you can see. My favorite shade in this is Grimoire. Like, can you... So, like, I mean, guys, like, look at that. But all of these mattes, I don't reach for. Like, Cleanse is really beautiful. Clove is really beautiful. I've worn Flourish and Blossom. I do like those. But for me, this palette is all about the metallics. But the only one that I, like, absolutely want to keep, that I would absolutely, like, know I would use on a regular, is Grimoire. I mean, oh, Lordy Lord. I'm going to think about this one. This is on the bubble. I feel like because it's a palette that I don't reach for very often, and when I do reach for, I literally only reach for like 4 shades. I have to really be like, I have to really think about that one, because it's just not a palette that like, it's not a color story that like that is my color story. All right. So next we have Enchanted Autumn, and this is the Fantasy Cosmetica palette that, was done in collaboration, and this is the one that fell on the floor. So I have like, I hope I put everything back the way it was supposed to go, because these are singles that can pop out easily. They're magnetic. So I think I have this in the proper places. I hope so. I love this palette. This palette is not going anywhere. This is such an Amanda palette. And again, this is the palette that was done with Makeup Just for Fun. This is the collab that they did, Fantasy Cosmetica and Makeup Just for Fun. And when this palette came out, I reached for it consistently. Oh, hold on a second. No, it's a little too... Well... Yeah, it's a little darker, a lot darker actually. So I was just trying, I was just checking, but I do love that, like that shade is just, that's the shade Scorpio. This is such a beautiful palette. This stays, that's like a no-brainer for me. The Little Mermaid palette, I am going to declutter. The reason why, I love all of the metallics in this palette. They are absolutely stunning. But I do not reach for the mattes in this. Like, when I use this palette, I will bring in another palette for the mattes, and I will reach for those, and then I will use this. But these metallics, guys, are some of, like, they did the thing. Like, they really did do the thing with this. Ugh. Seagull, Soap, ugh, just beautiful, beautiful metallics. But I feel like I have to be a bit more brutal about this, because I mean, how many mattes are in this? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, that's half the palette. So, as much as I love the metallics in this, and this is such a beautiful palette, and if you guys got your hands on this, and, you know, I hope you did, because this was a limited edition, but it is beautiful, beautiful palette. But I just don't reach for the mattes, because the mattes are quite colorful, and I love using these metallics with neutral tones. And there's only 2 in here, and they're both kind of on the lighter side. So... yeah, I gotta let it go. Okay, let's talk about, to wipe my hands off, let's talk about some of these minis that are sitting in front of me. I grabbed all my minis. They all kind of live in the same drawer. So I'm going to pull all of these over and we can discuss. right, so I'm going to move the Natasha Denonas out of the way and the other ones out of the way for a minute while I talk about some of these other ones, and then we'll get to the Natasha Denonas of it all. All right, so I have here some Visearts. I used to have a ton of Visearts. And I really culled the herd here, and I kept only 2. So I have here this is the Theory palette. I think this is Theory. Yeah, this is Theory Chroma. Very cool toned, very beautiful. I really like this palette. I do. I don't reach for it as much as I used to, but I'm going to keep it because I just turn that way because the black, but I love this palette. I think it's beautiful. And then I have the Kashmiri Shimmers. This one I actually reached for a ton when I first got it, and it's still a palette that sings to me when I look at it. Oh, no, I still think that's too dark for that dupe, a dupe for the Locust shade. This looks more like the Scorpio shade in Enchanted Autumn. This is a beautiful palette. I love it. It's beautiful. It's a great travel palette. I've traveled with it. It's stunning. All right, then we have these 3 Nomad palettes. Now, I am going to be in the new year. Not in this month because I have a lot of content coming out this month that I've already kind of like pre-planned and pre-filmed. And your girl is tired, so I'm not going to do it this month, but I think either in January, probably sometime in January, I'm going to do a ranking of all of the Nomad palettes that I own. I own quite a few. I've purchased some, but I've also been on their PR list for the past 2 years, which has been great. And so I own quite a bit, and I have a lot of experience with their formulations and the differences between them and the palettes. And so I really want to take some time and like rank all of the palettes and go through each one of them with you all and tell you my feelings about them. So I'm not going to get rid of anything at this point from them. I don't know if I will, because I do like having them as a reference. But these are the 3 minis that they came out with when they did their little travel collection. So I think there was, I can't remember if there's another one, but this is Oslo. This is Abu Dhabi. And this is Canadian Rockies. I did not get a lot of use out of Canadian Rockies. I really liked this one. I just wish it had a little more depth in it as far as these tones are quite the same on my skin tone. And I really liked Abu Dhabi, but it is quite a warm palette. So I'm going to be keeping all 3 of these. I then have, one more Viseart. So this is the Petit Fours Praline. I love this palette. It's very samey on the eye, but sometimes you want samey on the eye, you know? Like I've traveled with this. And when I travel, I tend to be far more utilitarian about my makeup and my makeup looks because I just want things that I know look good, that are easy to use, that are compact, that I don't have to like, I don't have like a giant bag. Even though there's been times that I've packed a lot of makeup for trips and I always wind up using the same 5 things. So I'm just always aware of that. And this is one of those things that I've traveled with and it just comes in clutch. It's just a clutch palette. I also have here I have 5 little random ones. We're going to go down the list. So we have the Surratt Beyond Beige. This is a beautiful palette. I've worn this quite a few times, but for me, these shades are so light on my skin. They do give a little bit of depth, but not enough to justify me keeping this. So I'm probably going to give this one away because I can think of a couple of people who would love this palette and that their skin tone is paler than mine. So I think that the tones would show up better on them. So I'm going to give this one away. I have here the Paco Rabanne mini palette in Macaron. I took this with me to Destin, Florida this year, and I wound up not using it that much. It's really pretty. It's really unique. I want to get more use out of this and see if I actually really like this formula. I feel like I haven't reached for it enough to form an opinion. So for now, it stays. I don't know if it'll survive to the next year. We'll see, but I'm hoping that I can get a little more use out of it. Then I have this beauty from Danessa Myricks, and I bought this over the summer. This is the Mini Freedom palette, and she looks like this, and I love this palette. I love this way more than I thought I was going to. These shades and this formula is actually really, really beautiful. I'm really obsessed with this shade right here. I did a lot of looks just with this shade, and then I also did a lot of looks with just these 2, or this one and this one. Like this is just, it's tiny, but it's mighty, and I love it. So I will be keeping that. Then I have the Sigma Ambiance palette. I received this in PR, and I haven't really reached for this one because I have another palette from Sigma that kind of functions in the same way. I've used this, but I haven't like used it in that, it hasn't become like a reach for everyday type of palette for me. So I'm going to give this away because it's still really nice and it's barely been used. So I think I can give this away to someone who I think will enjoy it. Here I have one of the mini Cleona palettes that I received in PR, and it is the Garland and Garden palette. I have not used this, guys, and I really want to use this. I opened it up and I was like, oh, how did I forget about this? It got lost in my little drawer of mini palettes. It kind of got shoved to the back. So I want to hold on to this and I want to get some use out of it because it's beautiful and I haven't touched it. All right, now we're going to talk about these two CoverGirl palettes. These are the CoverGirl Clean Color palettes, and y'all, these actually kind of slap. I mean, this one, they're not like the best formula, but for what they are, I actually really like them. I might get rid of the blue one because the blue one, I really only use these two shades. So I feel like I can give these away, but there's that one away anyway. But this one, I don't know. I might keep this one, y'all. I don't know. I don't know why I like these, but do I need them? Do I need these? Truly, I don't. I'm gonna get rid of the blue one. I'm gonna think about this one, and this one is called Classic Smoky, and that one is called Midnight Sky. I'm gonna think about Classic Smoky because I do actually really like this one, and this is the one I reach for the most between the two. But I'm gonna get rid of Midnight Sky. Alrighty, so the Denonos, the Denonos of the Denonos. All right. This is my mini collection from Natasha Denona. Now, my journey with Natasha Denona has been an interesting one in recent years because I don't really shop from the brand anymore, and not mainly because I feel like they've gotten away from the thing that made them really popular, kind of in the same vein that Pat McGrath did. They're just not doing things that are interesting to me. I used to be an affiliate. I don't think I am anymore. I think my affiliate code was like deactivated because I just wasn't purchasing anything and like promoting it. And that's just because I got bored, you know? I feel like the brand has not been interesting in a really long time, and it kind of makes me sad, especially when I look at these, because there's things here that were so exciting for me. I'm looking at a couple of them and I'm like, yes, those were the ones, baby. So mainly these two. This is the mini retro. This was the girl. She was that girl. And then they came out with that horrible like retro glam palette. That one. Palette. I'm sorry. I did a whole video talking about that palette. That palette made me angry. This one I love though, and I will be keeping this because it's one of my faves. Actually, my favorite palettes from Natasha. Even though it's a mini, it's one of my favorites of hers. And then we have here the Mini Tropic. This formula is not the best, guys. It's just not. But it's also like, I don't even think she makes this anymore. And I just don't want to get rid of it because I'm just like, I can look at it and go, remember when Natasha used to do interesting things? Yeah. All right, these actually, these are from her original, like she used to have her 5 pans that were like this, and they were big, and she had a bunch of them. Like when she first was like blowing up, she had a bunch of these, and I love them. And I feel like this one, and I've talked about this before, but I'm going to show you again. This one is the one I feel like that became that was like the mama bear, the mama of this one. Do you see it? Do you see it? So she came out with this one first, some years before she came out with Mini Retro. And I feel like she took the vibe of this one and expanded and improved on it with this one. But I love them both. This is like a greeny tone. You see that? Look at that. It kind of is like she decided to do that in a matte formula. This one is actually more green. It actually kind of goes kind of gray on my eyes. But even this one here and then that one, these two, this one is more impactful in my opinion than this one. You see? These are both so stunning, and I will be keeping both because I just think they're both so pretty, and it's so fun to see how she had ideas and then she like, you know what? I can actually do better. I can edit that and improve on it a little bit. Yeah, this is the Camel palette. This one, This palette makes me angry, but I still can't quit it because the formula is like not the best, but I can't quit it. I don't know why, you guys. I don't know why. I just can't get rid of it. I look at it and I go, you get on my nerves, but also you stay. This is the mini gold, which is nothing like the gold palette, which is kind of why I'm going to keep it, because it's just like, oh, no, I think it's too green. Maybe not. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Locust. Similar, but not the same. I like that this is more satiny, but also like, look at that. That's actually pretty similar, isn't it? Similar. Okay. I mean, I was keeping that anyway, but again, I'm kind of obsessed with finding the dupe for that Locust shade and that Phoenix shade. So I will be, anytime I think there's a dupe somewhere in my collection, we will be swatching them. All right, the last three, the final bosses. This is the Mini Starlet. This palette is such a nothing burger. It's such a nothing burger, but I wore it a ton when I first got it. It's such a nothing burger, but it's very pretty. The same goes for the Mini Dream palette. I have the full Dream palette. This one broke. So it's kind of broke. I dropped it and the thing is broken on the side. But I think of the two of, like, which one of these should I keep, guys? I don't think I'm going to keep both. They're not exactly the same, but they're also kind of both nothing burgers. So it's like, which nothing burger do you want? Let me see here. I really do like that shade and that shade. These, I feel like these are more impactful than these. These are more like muted, and these have like a lot more going on than these do. You see what? And these are so samey. Like, this is kind of ridiculous how similar these. Like, look at that. Why do we need both of these? I think I'm gonna keep the Starlet and I'm gonna get rid of the Mini Dream. Whoever I give this to, I'm just going to tell them to be careful because it's cracked, but I think I'm like literally picturing someone who would like this. This one I'm going to keep. It's so boring, but that's why it works. It's the Mini Sculpt palette, and I've traveled with this, and it's just like a collection of mattes that you can use to build a look, and I'm like, exactly. So that one doesn't bother me. That one is actually useful. All right, so I actually did wind up keeping most of these. I did declutter one, so yay me. All right, so now I'm going to go grab some of the other palettes that I need to go through, and yeah. Alrighty, guys, so I've grabbed some more palettes because, like I said, everything couldn't fit on my desk, so I had to like have them like siloed in certain areas. So let's grab all of these that I have in front of me here. And I have these on the side. So I'm going to go with the Glamnetic ones first because, or Glamlite, I'm sorry, not Glamnetic, Glamlite. I don't actually own any Glamnetic. So I'm going to grab the Glamlite ones first because why not? Move these out of the way. And let's talk about them. Let's talk. All right, so these are all of my Glamlite palettes. Let's start with the Glamlite Michaela Pot 2. This palette, I have a love-hate relationship with. And by love-hate, I mean, the issue with me is that these mattes are like all very, like specifically these browns, are so similar to each other on the eye that they almost render each other completely pointless. Like, they don't look that way, but this one actually applies incredibly dark. And so I don't feel like I get any kind of like depth with those. So I'm not the biggest fan of the mattes in this. I do like that green though. That's pretty. And I've never used that green. But the metallics in this absolutely slap. And so I feel like I kind of want to keep this. I do really like this palette. I just don't reach for it as much because, again, I always like the look that I do, but I always like fuss as I create the look. So yeah, we have a love-hate relationship, but I'm keeping it. This is the palette that I think started the whole like Glamlite Halloween collab thing. And so this is the Chucky palette. Looks like this. It's so cute. And I don't really own a lot of color stories like this anymore. So I think I'm going to keep this because I just think it's a fun color story. Do I reach for it very often? No. But I do want to keep it. And then I have my one purchase from the Glamlite Twilight Saga palette. So there was the Team Jacob and the Team Edward palettes. I felt the Team Edward palette looked basically exactly like Hold on, I think I'm missing another Glamlite. I'm gonna grab it once I'm done with these two. The Team Edward looked exactly like a bunch of other Glamlite Halloween palettes to me. It was like red and black and gray. Red and black and gray. I was like, oh, lovely. Groundbreaking. But the Team Jacob palette, this color story though, slaps. I've used this palette actually quite a bit. I actually wore this palette. I used this palette for my eye look that I did when I went to the Beyonce Cowboy Carter concert in May. This palette, she's a stunner. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to be doing my palette ranking, so this is maybe a spoiler alert, but this is like one of my favorites that I've tried this year. So she stays. The Lord of the Rings Middle Earth palette. This one, I think it's okay. I'm gonna keep it because I mean it's like less than a year old, but I tried the Team Breaking Dawn Team Jacob palette before this one. This one was actually this one came out maybe a month or so after the Twilight, I think. And I really liked the color story, so I went into this being very excited for it, but it's just, I don't know, I think I just need to use it more and really get an idea, more of an idea of these mattes. I will say, for me, Glamlite's metallics are better than their mattes. Yeah, so I'm going to be keeping this, but I wasn't as, like, impressed by that one as I thought I was going to be. Alright guys, I did find the other Glamlite palette that I knew I owned that was, like, it was on my desk, which I find interesting because I haven't reached for this in ages. But I have the Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger palette, and this is what it looks like. What does this remind you of? What brand came out with a palette with this color story some years ago? And it was called Smoke Sessions. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know? Are you there? As soon as I saw this, I decluttered Smoke Sessions because I didn't use it. And then I bought this one, and I don't use this one that often either, but I cannot let this go because this color story is just like, it's so nostalgic for me. This is Smoke Sessions, Melt Smoke Sessions to me, like part 2. It's so funny that it's a Halloween palette, that it's a Nightmare on Elm Street palette, but come on, man. That is Smoke Sessions, and I'm gonna keep it. Alright, I also have this other Nomad palette. This is the first travel palette they came out with. This is the Travel palette. And this is what it looks like. I got a lot of use out of this one. Again, I feel like the tones of the mattes are a little too similar, these two. And I feel like the metallics are a little too cool toned for me, but I did get a lot of use out of this palette. So, and again, I'm not decluttering any of my Nomads at the moment, so that stays. All right, so then we have here a Sigma palette, another Sigma palette, and this is the Ritzy palette, and I actually get a lot of use out of this. Mainly the metallics in this, specifically Midas, this one here. I reach for this a ton. I also reach for Gold Rush, which has this like beautiful like glitter vibe to it. This is actually a really pretty palette. It's really basic, but that's kind of the point. That's why it's so useful. So it stays. I have my first Sephora palette. This is the Mega Mix palette in, what is the shade on this one? Wild Khaki Nude. This is what it looks like. I actually really like this palette. As you can see, it has all the neutrals. What makes this thing Mega Mix is that you can take these, you can slide these off like that. It has a little, and you can rearrange these. I don't know why you would want to rearrange them, but I guess you can if you want. If I can get this back on, that would be great. There we go. But yeah, this is a great palette. I think I need to get some more use out of it to decide if I'm going to keep it or not going into the you know, following year. But I do want to get more use out of it because I was actually high-key impressed by this formula. I'm not gonna lie. All right, guys, I have more Nomad. These are most of my Nomads now. So I'm gonna show you most of basically all of them. So first up is the first Nomad palette I ever had, and this one I purchased myself. And this is the Okavango Safari palette. Look at that beauty. She's stunning. Love her. Keeping. I have the America's Parks palette. Beautiful. Love the metallics in this. Keeping. I have the Fils de Provence. Very pretty. Not my color story, but this, again, I'm doing a ranking video, so I'm not going to be decluttering anything at the mo. Nomad Berlin Underground. This palette, I love this palette. It's stunning. She pretty. She real pretty. And then I have my other one. So this is the Nomad Speakeasy palette, which got dusty. This palette is like really, I love the like feel of it, but it collects dust like nothing else. Like no other. This is the one that's based on Chicago, so it has a special place in my heart since it's my place of residence. Love this palette. I love this color story. Beautiful. Then we have the Ghost Town USA, the very popular Ghost Town USA, which we all love and stays, of course. And then we have Polar Express. This is I want to say the holiday palette that they came out with last year. So this is last year's holiday palette. I didn't love this, but I don't hate it either. And I really like the metallics in this. So, and then we have Ireland Wild Atlantic Way. We have, this one is, yeah, Keys, Beachy and Peachy. So this is the Florida Keys palette. Again, not my color story, but yeah. No, this one is one of my favorites from them. The palette is the packaging is stunning, and I actually really like the color story in this. It's not usually my usual color story, but something about these colors together just really like slaps for me. And then I have a couple of others because, like I said, I own a ton. All right, so make sure I've got all of them here. These are the rest of them. Let's slide them on over. Alrighty. Oh. So we have the Nomad Pacific Northwest. This they came out with for their fall collection, and I'm obsessed with this palette. I've been wearing it nonstop. It is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Love it. We have their Halloween palette for this year. This is Witches City Salem. Very pretty, very traditionally. Got a little gold in there. Oops, let's get that out. All right. Okay. Not my color story, but this to me is like a traditional looking Halloween palette. Then we have their New Zealand Stargazing. This palette kind of surprised me because it isn't my usual color story, but I still find myself reaching for this all the time. Not the blues, but these pinky rosy tones. I was reaching for it, and I'm not a pinky rosy tone girl. But this with the metallics, this is actually really surprisingly like you can create a really pretty, colorful, but not too colorful look, like soft look with this palette. All right, now we have the Fairy Tale Europe palette, which looks like this. This wasn't my favorite. The metallics are okay in this. My issue was with the mattes. They're incredibly light and incredibly they have a lot of white base to them. So if you are of a deeper skin tone, they're just going to kind of look chalky on you, which was kind of a disappointment. But the packaging, beautiful. This is this year's Christmas palette from Nomad. This is the Chris Kindle Market palette. And what I loved about the packaging, I wound up tossing the outer packaging because I can't hold on to packaging for everything. But I loved it because it was a little like advent calendar. So you could open up the little windows and you could see parts of the palette that weren't displayed on the packaging. So cute. This is what it looks like. I actually really like this palette. I was able to create like a really pretty like neutral look with this, surprisingly. This is a very, as you can see, a very like traditional looking Christmas palette. It's got your reds and your greens, but the gold, like these other metallics, like this one here, almonds and chestnuts, this is a stunner. Gingerbread, stunner. This one's glögg, I think it's called. Glögg wine, I think. Not glögg, I'm reading it upside down. Glögg wine. This one I like. And incense smokers, beautiful. Like the metallics in here really make this a really like wearable palette. We have the Route 66 palette. This wasn't a fave of mine, just color story wise, but yep, Route 66. And then we have their winter palette from last year, and this is the Chamonix Après Ski. This one is so interesting to me because it's like a pastel, but it's also vivid. I haven't used this a ton. I kind of want to get more use out of it. This shade here is really calling me the Shot Ski shade, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, so those are all my Nomad palettes. Like I said, I'm not decluttering anything at the mo. I might towards, you know, like the beginning of like the end of next year, when I do my 2026 declutter, maybe. But I'm working on a ranking video for all of my Nomad palettes, so they are not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. I'm just stacking them all here. There are a ton of them. Alrighty. Let's move on. So let's move on to my other Fantasy Cosmetica. And I was like, where's my other one? I think I have another one as well. I don't know where it is. We're gonna see. So this is the Witch is Familiar, and this is the newest collab that they did with Betty Jean. And this is what it looks like. And this is the one that I said reminded me of, this is the one I was referring to when I said I had a palette that was newer that reminded me of the Morte palette from Melt. But I think this one is a tad more interesting, and I also think that the formulation is better. As much as I love that Melt palette, and I did love Morte, you know, Melt's formula can be kind of hit or miss, and the metallics in that palette were hard to work with. The mattes are beautiful. The mattes are fantastic. The metallics has always been the thing that I felt that I feel that Melt struggles with. Now, I haven't tried anything from them recently, so I don't know if that's still the case. But in the past, that was the thing that I always had criticism of. This palette, though, I have no criticisms whatsoever. I think it's a beautiful palette, and all of the shadows apply and blend beautifully. So, yeah, keeping that for sure. I have another Betty Jean palette, and this is when her page is called Butte Bean. Do you remember that? You remember this from Shroud? Remember the insanity that surrounded this palette? I do. I waited a very long time for this palette, but it was worth the wait because I absolutely loved it. I made some of my all-time favorite eye looks with this palette. I don't know if I'll continue to use it because I've had it a while, but it's not going anywhere because it is, in fact, makeup history, and Shroud doesn't even exist anymore. I also have another Danessa Myricks, and this is the Mini Lightwork Volume 3. I keep going back and forth, and I do this all the time with the Danessa Myricks palettes because her palettes are so expensive, and I always try to like decide if it's worth the money, and I keep going back and forth about the one that she came out with for holiday this year. I don't know, guys. I can't bring myself to do it, but do I want to? Yes. If the price point was like $75 as opposed to $129, I would have bought it already, but I just can't justify that. This is the Lightwork 3 mini palette, and I like this palette a lot, but I don't use it very often. This is one of the reasons why I kind of hold off from buying her palettes, because I wind up not using them very often. Oh my god, though. Look at that. That's so pretty. I mean, I'm not getting rid of this, but I tend to reach for like this shade Solar Rain is like my favorite shade in the palette. And I really like Gaia and Soul, and Polaris is like a cream, almost like a balm. But these are they're beautiful. They're beautiful shades, but it's not a palette that like gets that much use in my collection. A palette that no longer exists, but will be pried out of my cold dead hands. This is the NARS Climax palette. One of my all-time favorite palettes ever to exist. And I've gotten gold on my matte. Lord help me. Let me see if I can get rid of that. Okay, there we go. I love this palette. I love it. 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 It never leaves. All right, and this is the Sigma palette that I was speaking of when I said I have another Sigma palette that has those sort of like everyday shades that I prefer. This is the palette that they released this year, and we got this in PR in Florida, and when I first saw it, I was like, really? And I do this all the time. I do this all the time with neutral palettes. I'm like, that's so boring. And then, of course, I reach for them consistently. Now, having said that, I own a lot of neutral palettes, so I really have to sort of be selective about what I use and what I keep and what I purchase. This palette, however, has consistently been one of the palettes that I reach for. I use this at least once a week. At least. Usually more, but at least once a week. Making sure I didn't stab my nails in the shadows. Are you okay, babies? Yes, you are. this is just like one of those palettes that just is like a workhorse palette for me. It's just like when I want to put makeup on, but I don't have time to really think about it that hard, I know I can get a really great look out of this palette. This palette is sitting on top of the, I would usually do this with the McGraths, but I'm just going to talk about it now because it's sitting here. This is the Gilded Nirvana palette. I purchased this when it came out, and I will be doing a review of it. I did look with it. I did do like a first impressions demo with it, but I will be doing an end of year roundup of all the things that I purchased and reviewed towards the end of the year. So from like maybe like September, October onward to December, I'm going to be reviewing. So this is going to be, I'm not going to talk in depth about this palette, but I am keeping it for now because I do, you know, I still have that, like, I don't get rid of my McGrath, but at the same time, I do have some criticisms of this palette. All right, and then I have my good old Lorac Pro palette in Noir. This palette is so boring, but it's so good. I've had it forever, and I still really like it, and I don't think I'm going to declutter it. It's only a few years old. It's only like 2 years old. It's not that old. But these shades are so boring. Like, even, like, look at that. Like, why do I keep this? Because I don't know. I just do. And I do like it. So I'm keeping it. It's boring, but it's useful. Another boring but useful palette that I wound up purchasing on a whim was the Tarte Glamazon palette. I bought this on a whim because it was like on super sale on Ulta, and I was like, you know what? I've been sort of circling that palette for a while. This is what it looks like. It's really pretty. It does have that chocolatey smell. This is like a year old. I've had this, maybe not even a year old. The shades that I use: Scenic, Enchanting, Canopy. Sometimes a little bit of haze, sometimes a little bit of light break. I never use that blue. I never use that brown. Sometimes I put Mystic in my inner quarter. And I'm keeping it. One of my newest purchases for like palettes, because I haven't actually purchased that many palettes this year. I've gotten a lot of stuff in PR, which I'm thankful for, but the majority of my palettes that I've actually purchased, I can count on one hand. One of those was this new palette from Lisa Eldridge that she came out with in the summer called Desert Gleam. Look at Desert Gleam. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Can you see how I love these types of tones? This is an okay palette. It's not amazing. It's good. I feel like she's still finding her footing with her formula. I do, but I do actually really like this palette, and I have gotten a decent amount of use out of it, and I will keep it. Now let's talk about these palettes here. I do have some singles here. I'm going to move these because these are my my second thing of Clionadh singles that I will not be decluttering because I use all of my Clionadhs. But I do have two palettes that are like standalones, and I have, this is the Deep Sea Treasures. I have not gotten a lot of use out of this, but it's so beautiful. I've reached for a couple of these shades like Fool's Gold and, how do you say this again? Cephalopod, excuse me, Cephalopod. So these are the two that I reach for a lot. I've also reached for Saltwater Pearl. I don't really reach for this one, the Benz. Shipwreck is beautiful. I haven't used that one. I have used Kelp Forest before, and I have dipped into Scuba. But I want to get more use out of this because I think it's a beautiful palette, and I just love Clionadh shadows so much. Like, I don't think I would part with any of them at this point because they're so useful for me. If I'm not using usually what I'm doing, guys, is I'm taking a palette like Sigma Spectrum, and I'm going in here and I'm using some of these mattes, and then I'm pulling out like a Clionadh shadow, and that's what I'm doing. So they are very useful for me. So this palette is the Light Scatters palette. This is the palette that they did a collab with Bad to the Brow. And can you see which color I like the most? This is, again, another one of those Clionadh palettes that I reach for when I want like a single shade. Like this one, these are my bays. These are my bays right here. This is what I reach for. And I sometimes reach for this one, which I also love. They're all so stunning. I love them all. I'm not decluttering any of my Cleonas, singles or palettes. So yeah, that one is a stunning palette. Another palette that I'm absolutely not decluttering, and when I do my palette ranking for the year, I will talk more in depth about it, but I also did a review of this on my channel. So we got this at NPR in Florida, and this is the Singe Beauty Agate Temptation palette. And guys, this palette kind of high-key rocked my world because I had kind of gotten into a makeup rut and I wasn't using a lot of color. And then I got this palette and I opened it up and I was so inspired by this color story because these are the colors that I love. Like, you've seen the palettes that I've kept. This reminds me of like a souped up, better formulated Juvia's Place palette. Like, I kept a couple of those Juvia's Place palettes for the memes, but I would actually, if I'm going to reach for, if I want those tones, this is what I'm going to reach for. This palette is so stunning. I mean, where to begin? Moss. I mean, first of all, this one here, what's it called? Chalcedony. This one is like a minty green. Oh, look at that. It's so stunning. This one here, Silica. I love this palette. Angie did such a good job with this palette. She knocked it out of the park with this, and it's still a palette that when I open it up, I'm like so excited to look at and to play with. So yeah, keeping that. All right, guys, my battery is dying, so I think I'm going to go through these quickly, and then I'm going to change my battery. So this is my other, so it's like, where's my other Fantasy Cosmetica? It was on my desk. So this is Druid. How stunning is it? Okay, let's do the thing, because I'm looking at a thing and I'm seeing a thing and I'm like, let's see. So this is Locust. Oh, almost, but not quite. That one's more on the red side. Oh, I got excited there for a second. Keeping this, of course, because it's a stunning palette and I love it. This is definitely like my kind of color story. Can you tell that my favorite color is green? Did anything give it away? All right, next up is Sigma. This is the Cool Neutrals palette. This was one of my favorite palettes of 2024. She's beautiful. I haven't used her in a minute, but I've been staring at her because she sits on my desk and I was like, I need to bust this palette out again. This is such a stunning and a well done version of a cool tone palette, but is more usable because they popped in neutrals. So they're cool neutrals, but they popped in some of these slightly warmer tones just to give it some weight. And so I feel like even if you're not a cool tone person, you can get so much out of this. I mean, look at these warmer tones, like this one and this one and this one. This one, you can do some looks and just pop in a little bit of those cool tones and kind of like incorporate them into the look. I love this palette. My one and only Adept Cosmetics palette. I keep wanting to purchase more, but I just never do because, again, I have so much makeup that I'm like, I spend more time talking myself out of palettes than I do talking myself into palettes. This is Sumerian Sunset. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. I don't love the mattes. I think they need to work on their matte formula, but the metallics, baby, this one here, USS Defiant, stunning. Packlet, stunning. Lal, stunning. Like this one, what's it called? Farpoint, yeah, Farpoint and Risa. Oh, this palette is stunning. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. My only Blend Bunny Cosmetics palette, and it is the All Done Up. And I put my nail in this some time ago. Now it's got like a big dent in it. Love this palette. I actually like the mattes more than metallics in this palette. I think this is such a great, like, grungy, but also usable and wearable neutral tone palette. Keeping that. And then we have this bad boy. So let me make sure these don't fall down. If you don't know about the controversy with Inslee Rain, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but I had one palette from them. I had two in my cart, and I was like, I don't think I'll be purchasing anymore. Their palettes are very expensive. I will say they have a beautiful formula. Beautiful, beautiful formula. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But I did spend my money on this. I'm probably never going to show it on this channel again, I don't think. But I don't think I'm going to unload it because I do like this palette, but I also spent a lot of money on this palette, like more than I normally would want to spend on a palette in this day and age, in this point of my makeup journey because I own so much makeup. So I am going to be keeping this, but it makes me sad that I probably will never purchase another thing. But, you know, it is what it is. So this is the Cosmic Beauty. I think it's Cosmic Beauty now. They used to be Cosmic Brushes, but they're Cosmic Beauty now. This is the Neutrals palette. This is probably one of the best neutrals palette I have seen in a good long while. I love this palette. I wore this literally last night to my holiday party, and all I did on my eyes was a little bit of neutral with glitz and a little bit of brown liner and some mascara, and baby, my eyes were looking fan-freaking-tastic. I kept looking at myself like, oh my god, my eyes are just bling blinging. Love this palette. Love it. I'm not getting rid of any of my Cosmic. I only have 3, and I really would love to try more. This is the one that started it all for the brand, but also for me, because this was their Serenity palette, and this was like, this remains one of, Cosmic Beauty has one of the best matte, and I'm going to talk about their metallics. Their metallics are beautiful, but they have one of the best matte foundation, I'm sorry, matte eyeshadow formulas on the market. Like easily, and that's including like, you know, your mainstream brands. This is, they have such a good formulation of their mattes. Their metallics are beautiful too. I'm not poo-pooing the metallics, but I just really want to touch on the mattes because the mattes in this palette specifically kind of blew my mind. Love this palette, love the brand. Whoop, we've got palette avalanche. All right, Muse. This is probably after, this was my favorite until I got neutrals. Oh, hold on, baby. Wait a second. Let's do this one too. Probably not that one, but yeah, I think it's a little too red. I got excited. I thought it was Locust Dupe, but it's not. But that's okay, because I still love this palette. It's still like a stunner. So yeah, she stays, of course. All right, guys, so now we're gonna get into the Natasha Denona of it all, like the true Natasha Denona of it all. I'm going to go grab all of my Natasha Denona palettes. I'm just going to change my battery really quickly. We're going to go through those, and then we're going to get to the final boss. And I think you all know what the final boss is. All right, guys, the battery has been changed, and I've pulled out all of my Natasha Denonas. Had some glitter. It's like glitter stuck to this. Anyway, so these are all of my midi to full size Natasha Denona palettes. As you can see, I was in fact a true believer. I own a lot of Natasha Denona. I have owned a lot of Natasha Denona palettes, and I spend a lot of money on them. And I will say, I will preface this by saying that I don't think, I still have so much glitter on my hands. I don't think I'm going to be decluttering anything. Well, we're going to go through them. We're going to talk through the process, because who knows, maybe I will surprise myself and change my mind. I don't think that's going to happen. I, know thyself, and I kind of know myself, but I also have to look at it from the standpoint of being a beauty content creator and knowing that these are palettes that I kind of like to have on hand for comparison and review purposes. If there were ever anything that I ever went on to purchase from the brand or from another brand that I wanted to compare, I like having these on hand to do so. So let's start off with what I feel was her last really, really interesting palette, which was, it was the Yucca palette. And she looks like this. Look at that, baby. She is stunning, stunning, stunning. Love this palette. This formulation is great. She had a new formula in here with her metallics that I actually really liked. They're quite flaky and have more texture to them. They're a little like softer to the touch, and this is more like her traditional kind of metallic. I like this palette. I like this palette a lot. And as you can see, it's a color story that speaks to me. I don't know if you've seen that theme yet, but it's like the grungy greens. I love a grungy green. I am a sucker for a grungy green. This is a palette that was very, very popular, that I did I guess you would say, negative review on. I wouldn't say that it was negative in the sense that I didn't knock the formulation. I think her formulation in this is great. What I knocked was the fact that this palette is so incredibly one note. I feel that I use this palette for a week, guys. I used to do this quite a bit with when I reviewed eyeshadow palettes like on their own. I don't really do that as much anymore because I just don't get the kind of views that that justify doing that. But I might go back to it if you guys like it. But one of the ones that I did was when this palette came out, and I wore this palette for a week. And what struck me the most about this palette was how much the looks just look the same on me. Not only that, but there's no depth in this palette if you are of a deeper skin tone. Like if you are a pale to, you know, if you are a white person, I think this palette will look great for you. If you are not, if you have any kind of melanin of any varying degree, this palette will look, these will all look the same on you. They will all look the same. I did looks with just using one or two, or just, you know, I did full looks with these, and I remember going through the photos of every single look I did, and they all looked exactly the same. It was wild. So I'm going to keep this for like review content purposes, but this was probably my second least favorite palette. And this one, well, no, I take that back. Yeah, it's my second least because there's another one in here that I absolutely kind of high-key despise for various reasons. This one was just, this was a not for everyone palette. It was I need a nude if you're very pale. This is the pastel palette. This one, I feel like I don't love this palette. I really don't. I don't think it's bad as far as formulation. I just don't. I think this was the last time she really tried to do something with color, and I felt like she really kind of just was like, it's pastels, here you go. But I had two pastel palettes at the time. It was this one and another one from Give Me Glow, and I wound up decluttering the Give Me Glow, and I do think that was the right decision. But I still never reach for this palette. Never. It's like, literally when I picked this up, I was like, oh yeah, this is very forgettable. Then we have the Love palette. Again, not a fave, but this one just has some beautiful metallics in it, and it's a good reference point palette, so I keep it for that. This is the palette that I despise the most, guys. This is the Natasha Denona Retro Glam. Now, why do I despise this palette so much, you say? Especially when you consider that it's very similar almost to the one that I love so much from Lime Crime. You want to know why? Because this was one of the laziest releases I think she's ever done. The Retro Glam the Retro palette was one of her, the little mini one that I showed earlier in the video was one of her most popular palettes. And everyone wanted a full size of that palette. And I feel like, you know, she didn't want to do one. She wound up doing a retro palette midi that she tried to say was the cousin or the sister or whatever was related to the mini, but they did not have anything in common, anything. And then she realized that people were still like, that's a pretty palette, but that's not retro. And so they kind of just threw this together. This feels like an afterthought. I said it in my review. This feels like, here, take this palette and shut up. Stop asking me about retro. That's what it felt like. If you like the mini retro, cherish it, but you don't need this one. And it's really interesting because I think this is one of their worst performing palettes. And I remember that this was always on sale. And I'm like, that's because people don't like palettes that they feel are like afterthoughts. You know, like the formulas on this are not that great. They're not, like, I like her cream to powder, but these are her worst cream to powders. Well, second worst. There's another one that was like, we'll talk about that one. But this is like her second worst formulas as far as the mattes and the powders go. Mattes and the cream to powders. The metallics are lackluster. It's just a very like, yes, girl, give us nothing palette. This is the Trio Chrome palette, and I actually really, really like this palette. It's not like her best as far as like a lot of people are like, that's not a, I've got so much like makeup on the edges there. That's not Trio Chrome. That's not Duochrome. That's not Multichrome. I don't think that's what she was saying, guys. I think she said Trio Chrome because there's 3 of these. I still think people struggle with that one, but yeah, these are really muted colors, but they look so beautiful on the eye, and I still love this palette. I get the vision. I get what she was going for, and I feel like this is like what, if she was going to do pastels, I think she should have stuck with just this. This blows the pastel palette out of the water, but what you can hear are these really like grungy tones that have a pastel edge to them, and they're just beautiful. I love this palette. I'm gonna talk about that one later because we got some discussions to have about that one. So I'm gonna just do this. So let's talk about the bronze palette. I love the bronze palette. I talk crap about the bronze palette, and then I bought the bronze palette, and then I use the bronze palette all the time, and I was like, wow, this palette slaps. I still feel that way. It is very samey, but that shade High Degree, baby, can't tell me nothing when I'm wearing that. That shade is everything. This is a beautiful palette. Love it. Zindo, good old Zindo. This has dust on it because I hardly ever use this palette anymore, and it was sitting on my desk. Okay. Zindo. Zindo is one of those palettes that it didn't get a lot of love. A lot of people dislike this palette, but this is again another palette that I did a review of that I wore for a week. And I can't remember if I had my channel then. I think I might have done it for Instagram. I can't remember. I think I hadn't quite started my channel yet. And I did a weekly review, so I did like a week's worth of looks with using this palette. And I really liked the looks that I came up with, and I really liked using this palette. However, as soon as I stopped using it, I forgot about it. So I get what people are saying. It's a lot of people don't feel this is the most cohesive, and it's very different from the Mini Zindo, which came out first. But I still think this is a beautiful palette. I think, is it her best formula? No. Is it the best thing she's ever put out? No. But, you know, my dream. I really like my dream. I like this better than the retro palette that she originally came out with that was like the berry tones. I like this one. I do. Is it like the most groundbreaking palette ever? No. I really like the shade Vision. Yeah, I like this palette. It's not amazing as far as color story. It's not like, oh my god, groundbreaking, but it's pretty. All right, Zinda, or Xenon, excuse me. No, your TV or your phone, it's fine. This is literally what the colors are. If you have neutral to warm tones, this is just going to look very similar on the eye on you, but I also can't quit it because I don't know. I got some use out of it. It's just not a palette I reach for very often, as you know, it's just, but it's good to have. I don't know. I can't let it go. I said I wasn't going to declutter anything, and I'm not. Sunrise. This is the first Natasha Denona palette I ever purchased. Ever. Am I going to get rid of it? Ever. No, I will not. Will I use it on my eyes? Probably not. I don't know. That Phlox and Azalea shade, I was wearing those pretty much every day, along with Jasper. Morgana, you can say, or was it Morgan? Is it Morgan or Morgana? It's Morgan, yeah. You can tell me anything. I loved this palette. This is the palette that was like my gateway drug to Natasha. All right, we're going to talk about it. The Circo Loco. Is this a great palette? I keep getting shimmers and everything. Is this a great palette? It's a good palette. It's a good palette. Is it a usable palette? That's debatable. Like in a sense of like how I found that I was using the oranges in this shade Canon all the time. The pastels in this one blow the ones in the pastel palette out of the water. So yeah, I think it's an okay. This is the thing. You know what I liked about this palette is that she was just actually trying something. She was doing something. Let's throw a little color up. Let's see what we can do. Let's try it. I love that. I wish we had more of that. I wish we had that back. All right, Safari. So this is the first palette that she ever did her cream to powder formula, and this cream to powder formula is kind of sucky. But I like having it as a reference for her cream to powder because this is the first iteration, and it's really interesting to see the progression of that formula. Sometimes it falters, but for the most part it's been consistent, and it's one of my favorite formulas on the market. When she does it well, she does it well. This is not done well, but I keep it as a reference. All right, is this my second one or third? Actually, I think this one is my second. This is the Metropolis palette. My favorite Natasha Denona palette of all time, and I keep having to open these up and see metallics in my shades. What is this? I hope it's not mold because I really will be keeping this. No, I don't think it is. I think it's, yeah, that wasn't mold. That was like eyeshadow. And see, this is the problem. This palette is so messy because I used it so much that I got like makeup transferred into it. Anyway, let's smush that back down. I love this palette. This was my second Natasha Denona palette, and I got this. You guys. I had one of those $100 Rouge rewards, and I decided to spend it on this. And this was a $129 palette, and I spent my $100 reward, and I got it for like $30 and some change with tax, and I was so happy. And when I remember talking so much trash about this palette when she first released it, and I saw the photos and I was like, what the hell is that? That looks ridiculous. It looks scattered and all over the place. And then she explained her vision, and she explained the vision of this being sort of like Art Deco, but also like those like stained glass. And once she said that, it opened up a whole new world. I just knew. I knew. I was like, oh, I see the vision. And then I wanted to try it. This is where she really, really, I hate I have so much shimmer in these. This is where she really, really, really honed and perfected her cream to powder. These are the cream to powders in this palette. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And that one. I love this palette. I kind of want to use it and see if it's still any good. I will never, ever, 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 ever declutter this. Even if it's not good anymore, I will keep it as like a memory in like my little box of like makeup nostalgia memories, because it is to this day, my favorite palette of all time. It just is. The second palette that I actually spent full price on and was like, oh yeah, is this bad boy. And this is the gold palette, baby. And this palette rocks my world. I love everything about it. I've traveled with this. It's one of those palettes where you feel like, oh, when I first saw it, I was like, is that really useful and usable? It is. It is. You can create your everyday looks, but you can also do such amazing, like, oh, I mean, this shade alone. Come on. Come on. This is one of my all-time favorite like taupes in the history of makeup. Like, I don't know why. It just rocks my world. It's nothing to, like, when you look at it, you're like, okay, that's a taupe. I don't know. I don't know why I love it, why I do. Like I do, but I do. Now, this palette was supposed to be when this one got discontinued. She came out, what was it, last year, this year? One of those, with this one. This is the Golden palette. My palettes are so messy. I have to like really like scrub them because they're just like, she changed these packaging and I just feel like it's so grubby. Anyway, this is what she came out with in response as her answer to discontinuing this one. Now, there are repeats in these. So the shade Log, that's Log. Varus. Alchemist. Fizzy. Oro looks different because this is Oro. They are different. The Oro from the Golden palette. I mean, they look the same, but they're different, guys. You can see the impact here. So let me just swatch. So this is the new one, and this is the old one. Can you see how sparkly the old one is in comparison? So she did give people like, oh, and this shade here, so like Sandstone is there, Teak, Panna. Like, she gave us a lot of the base shades and then completely left these out. Completely. So, for me, I like the gold palette because it has a lot of the everyday shades from this palette that I reach for. But I will tell you this right off the bat, these are not the same quality. They're not. This one is so impactful to this day. Old as it is, I can wear this and the impact of these metallics slaps. This is pretty. It's pretty. This is phenomenal. This is good. This is phenomenal. This is good. They are not the same because honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why she left these out, is that I don't think she could have formulated these at that price point. This is a $129 palette. This is a $69 palette. They're not the same. But I'm keeping them both. All right, guys, so those are my Natasha Denonas. As you see, I said I wasn't going to declutter anything. I just wanted to kind of talk over my feelings about the brand and the palettes themselves. But I knew I wasn't going to declutter anything. So, yeah, moving on. All right, guys, I'm back with the final boss. Have you guessed what the final boss is? Can you tell? Can you tell? I have no space on this desk between the ones that I've like just finished reviewing and stacked up, and then all of the Pat McGrath that is sitting right here. I have no room for anything. So we're gonna do this as quickly as possible because this video is super long. So let's go through, actually let's go through these first. I want to preface this by saying again, like I did with the Natasha Denona, I don't think I'm going to declutter anything. Even if there's something that I'm no longer going to be using on my eyes, there are things that I will be keeping because you cannot get them anymore. They are makeup history. All right, so let's start off with these bad boys. So I have 3 of her like little 5 pans that she's started coming out with. The first one is Bronze Bliss. This is probably my favorite of the 3. I love this palette. I did a review of this. I did like 3 looks with it, 2 or 3 looks with it. Absolutely love this. Will not be getting rid of that. And then I have this one, which is Bronze Ecstasy. Not as good as the other one, but you know. And then we have here Lunar Nightshade. Don't love this one. I might actually declutter this one. I might actually declutter this one, guys. I just didn't love it. So I think, yeah, I actually think I'm gonna, oh, okay, Amira, look at you, girl. Go, girl. I'm getting rid of that one. I don't know where I'm going to put it so that I can remember to declutter it, but we're going to sit it somewhere. I'll sit on the side here. Okay. Now let's do the quads. So this is Venus in, is this Venus in, yes, Venus in Fleurs Luxe Quad. I love this palette. I don't know, like, it's so basic, but these shades make it special, and I love it, and I won't be getting rid of it. We have here the Bronze Borealis. I actually liked Bronze Borealis. It's not like the most groundbreaking palette, but I did actually like this one. I didn't think I would, and when I first tried it, I didn't love it, but then I found myself reaching for it. Again, it's very basic. The formula is very basic. There's no like special shades or anything to like, oh my god, but it's like one of those palettes that's just like, it's pretty, you know, it's pretty. This is, which one is this one? This is, oh yes, Deep Space Divinity. This one I love. I love Deep Space Divinity. I love this shade. This one's actually really pretty. This one's like whatever. She loves these shades. I ignore them. I really just use it for the 3 that are on the side there. But it's beautiful. And then we have, I'm going to move this one out of the way for now. No slidey, no slidey. This is Fleur Fantasia, which I love. This is her pastel moment, and it's beautiful. These shadows are so nice. I was thinking this was going to be one of my least favorites when I got it, and I absolutely love it. Beautiful, beautiful palette. This is Interstellar Icon. I actually really like this one as well. This is one of the older ones, so I would say this is very similar to, what's it called? Deep Space Divinity, but this is a better version of that in my opinion. All right, and then we have these 2, and I actually used to have 3 of these. I think I decluttered one. No, here it is. Aha! I was like, I put it to the side. These are, and these are the ones that I said I would never declutter because these are makeup history. So when she first launched her very, very first holiday collection, she came out with these 3 quads, and you can see the difference in quality even to the packaging. It has the gold plating on the back. This is what it looks like, and I'm going to show you what they look like now. I'm going to show you the kind of like evolution. So this is the first set that she came out with, and this is, which one is this? This is Nocturnal Nirvana. Look at that. Oh, these are special shades, by the way. She used to actually put special shades in her quads. Then the following year, she came out with these. And this one is, which one is this? Is this, yeah, so this is Celestial Divinity. Pretty. No special shades. Pans are smaller. You can even see. Well, they're about the same, but no special shades. Packaging is different. You see that? You see how different that is? One's gold and one's black. Hope you can see that. I don't have a lot of room to maneuver here, so hopefully you guys saw that. Then, actually, let's leave those out because you can really see. So that one is year one. This is year one. This is year two. And let's do year three. Let's do Deep Space Divinity because it's right here in front of me. And I really want you guys to see what I'm talking about here. Okay, so year one, you got this, special shades. 5 special shades. I'm sorry, 4 special shades. Year two, no special shades, but pretty. Year three, some really basic satin, metallics, and 1 matte. Packaging, and also can you see how much smaller the pans are? You see that? Packaging is black on the bottom. Year one, you have the gold plating like with the full size. Yeah. What a time to be alive, guys. What a time to be alive. She really used to do the thing. Now, I get why she stopped doing the quads. I do. I think she was probably in all likelihood. Oh, I'm dropping all of my packaging. I think she was in all likelihood losing money on these because these were very expensive, but probably not expensive enough to justify making them. So this is the one, number one. I barely use this. I don't care. She's beautiful. She will never go anywhere. She lives here with me. And that is where she will stay. And then here is Iconic Illumination. Another one of the quads that had special shades. This shade. This reminded me when Linda Hellberg first came out with her brand. She had some really interesting shadows and really interesting formulations and colors. And this one, there was one shade in one of her palettes that I absolutely adored. And it was almost identical to this. So just think about that. The evolution of LH Cosmetics, which used to be Linda Hellberg Cosmetics, but now it's LH Cosmetics. They used to do shades like Pat McGrath. Think about that. And then think about what the brand looks like now. I'm just saying it's very different and it makes me sad because I know what the brand used to be and I know what it is now and it just makes me sad. But I also understand why. And I really don't want LH to be catching strays here, but you know, I just had to talk about it because every time I look at that one, it makes me think of that LH quad because I had both and I actually decluttered the LH because I was like, oh, I was really trying to be like brutal. And I was like, well, I have this one. I'm glad I did that because yeah. So here's the other one. Look at that. How beautiful is that? And this one was called, I can't remember the name of it. This one was Ritualistic Rose and this was my fave. And she came out with Ritualistic Rose before she came out with Divine Rose. And I feel like this was like a harbinger of things to come. Yes. All of those stay. None of them go. As I said, I don't think this is not going to be a declutter. This is not a declutter. I'm just kind of showing you guys what I want to, what my collection is like, what I'm keeping in my thought process for why I'm keeping it. As you saw, I did declutter one that I was not expecting to, but it was one that I felt like it needed. Now, these are the 3 original 6 pans that she came out with that you can no longer get. Okay, so and these are the first Pat McGrath palettes that I ever purchased. This one is the first one I got, which is Bronze Ambition, and it looks like this. Can you see that? I'm going to try to take the thingy off. I keep this on here because that's just how I roll. It has the names on it because they weren't printed on before. I think she prints them on her palettes now, but before I used to get like this little card. So this is Bronze Ambition. How beautiful is it? This was my fave. I wore this all the time. This palette is very old. We'll never get rid of it. I don't know if I'll put it on my eyes, but I'm not getting rid of it because you cannot get this anymore. This is definitely history. This is Platinum Bronze. This is the one that I thought I was going to love Brown Ambition more, and then I got this one and I wound up using this one more. And this is like the cool tone version. Oh no, I put my nail in it. Ugh, that's okay. Can you see? I hope you guys are getting light from this because I have so much around me that the lighting is probably like terrible right now. Let's do it this way. Oh, stunning. Oh, I loved this palette so much. I really, really loved this palette. I was surprised at how much I love this palette. And then because I was becoming a Pat McGrath collector at that point, I picked up Subversive La Vie en Rose. Now this one is broken. My glue came off on the side here, but I still hold on to this piece by just keeping it closed like that. This is what this one looks like. I've hardly ever used this one, even when I first bought it. I really bought this because I wanted to have all three. I was like, well, I gotta have all three. It's beautiful. And these were all meant to be like mini curated versions or mini curated like iterations of her original three motherships. To varying degrees. Some of them don't look anything like those, but that was the purpose of them. Then she came out with her 6 pans that were like holiday. And this one is Dark Star. And this is one of the first ones to be discontinued. And so many people are obsessed with this palette. I freaking love this palette. I did not expect to use this palette as much as I did. Let me take the little thingy off. I did not expect to use this palette as much as I did. But this blue and this gold. Oh, guys, this palette was the thing. Like, this was it for me in so many ways. I love this palette. But I haven't used it in ages. But I love it so much. And then she came out with this one. This one is this? Yeah, so this is Bronze Temptation. This one is another beautiful one. This is, again, it has like those holiday tones, but it's like perfect. And how muted it is. Look at that. She's so pretty. Oh, Pat used to do such interesting things. What happened, girl? What happened? All right. And then finally, the final of these is the holiday is Metamorphosis. And this one is, I don't think I've ever used this one, guys, but I own it and I love it. And this was really like a take on Decadence, which for a very long time was my favorite Natasha, oh God, I keep saying Natasha Denona, my favorite Pat McGrath palette. And I just stuck my nail in that one, but again, I don't really care about that. So this is Metamorphosis. It is all metallics. It was really funny because this was probably her least popular. And then when it got discontinued, I would see people online and like asking people if they had this palette. Because all of a sudden it was like the fact that people couldn't get it, or it was like, well, I need it now. So this is the Mothership. Which one is this? Rose Decadence. So this is one of the ones when she came out with Divine Rose and she came out with a 6-pan version. This is not the most interesting palette, and it's nowhere near as good a quality as far as like the special shades and all of that as like Divine Rose 1 or 2. But yeah, I own it. This is the one she came out with for Lunar New Year, and this is Golden Opulence, and this palette is a snooze fest. The packaging is more interesting than the palette itself, but did I have to own it? Yeah. Yeah, I did. Look at I'll show you guys the packaging when it's closed. It collects a lot of dust because of the packaging is very like, it collects everything it touches because it's one of those really like textured kind of things, but this is what it looks like. How beautiful is this? Way more interesting than what's inside. And then, guys, this is the collection that made me cry. I cried trying to get my hands on this collection. And this is the one where everyone was so upset with Pat that she actually had to like go online and like apologize, and like her team was in DMs and getting the names and addresses of people because this sold out in like less than 5 minutes, and everyone realized it had been sold out by resellers, like people just like collectors people who didn't even know who Pat McGrath really was. It was just like people who wanted anything that had Star Wars on it. I cried when I couldn't get my hands on this. I cried like a baby. I remember sitting at my desk at work because I was trying on my phone on my way to work trying to buy this collection. I used to do Pat McGrath drops wherever I could, wherever it was needed. I was on my iPhone and I was you couldn't, I wasn't going to get got, but I got with this one. And I remember sitting at my desk and literally like crying and like trying to not cry in front of people at work over makeup. This is, which one is this one? This is Galactic Gold. This is the C3PO video, palette. So there you go. Very pretty. What really irked a lot of people's souls that she went on to take both of these palettes and put them in a holiday palette that she released like the following year. I was annoyed. But I had these in my possession, so I didn't purchase that one. This is what is this one? Dark Galaxy palette. And then also, this was the Decadence palette. And when she did a re-release, I got my hands on it. She gave everybody, like, this is when her customer service was actually like slapping. Everybody who kind of like had logged in and missed out, she got all of our information and we were able to shop first. And it was fantastic. And I got everything I wanted, including all of the palettes. And I got Decadence, which was my favorite for so long. This palette looks so boring, but guys, it is not. Now, these shadows are probably old as Methuselah now. I don't think I would put this on my eyes, but I don't know. Maybe I would. YOLO. But I have the gold packaging with, and then she released with the gold without the Star Wars, which I was like, oh, I like that one even more. Like, the only reason I wanted this because I wanted the collection. I didn't give a damn about Star Wars. Sorry, not sorry. I wanted the makeup. But yeah, this was, wow. This collection, every time I look at it, it just takes me back to that time of being like, when like makeup was like so exciting. I don't have those exciting feelings anymore. Not because, you know, I just don't feel like makeup has that kind of effect anymore. Like the drops aren't that interesting anymore to warrant that kind of like excitement. All right. So I have all three of the first, motherships. I have Subversive, which I'm sure you guys have seen, but I'll open it up and show you again in case you haven't. You live under a rock. You know, here you go. There it is. This is probably my least favorite of all of them. But will I ever get rid of it? No. Also, I do want to say something about the Danessa Myricks new holiday palette. The first thing I thought when that palette dropped is that it reminded me of an amalgamation of all three of the original Mothership palettes. Now, I'm not trying to start nothing, but I'm not the only one who's noticed that. And I know someone, Elle, on Instagram, her Instagram handle is Elle Essentially. She did a whole swatch party with all of these motherships and the Danessa Myricks Lightworks palette, the new one, and the similarities were startling. So that's when I kind of had to back off. I was like, wait a minute, I have that, and I have all the others, and so I'm going to show you my favorite, I keep wanting to say Natasha Denona, my favorite Pat McGrath palette. And I have to say, it's this one that's kind of kept me from wanting to bite the bullet and purchase the Danessa one. So this is Sublime. This is not my favorite. This is probably my second favorite of the three originals. Oh, turn it that way. Looks like that. She's got a decent amount of use. She's beautiful. But like there are shades in here that are very much like the ones in the Danessa Myricks Lightwork palette. Like very much so. So we're going to close that bad boy up. And I'm going to show you my favorite of the original three. My absolute favorite. I think you kind of could guess because there's only three of them and I've already shown you two. It's this one. My favorite is Subliminal, baby. And I am shocked and appalled. No, I'm not appalled, but I was shocked that this is the one that I was going to like the most, that I like the most. I was very sure that it was going to be, Sublime. It is not. It is Subliminal. It's this one. And these are the shades here that are very similar to what is in the Danessa Myricks Lightworks palette. This is my favorite Pat McGrath palette. Well, maybe my second now, but it was my favorite for a very long time. And I still open this up and I look at it and I smile. Is this the most exciting one? Most colorful? No, but there's a reason. There's a method to the madness with this palette, and I got it. the thing that I loved about her makeup in the past is that you really had to have the palettes in your hands and play with them to truly understand the method to the madness. And it was this palette that made me understand the method to the madness. It was this palette that made me go, oh, I get what you're putting down. Girl, I get it now. I got it before, like I wanted to get it. I have other palettes, but the first two palettes, like full-size palettes that I purchased, were not any that I felt were really like challenging in that way. So the first one that I ever purchased and was like, yeah, was Divine Rose. Why? Because I was really scared to go for anything else because I was afraid of all of the colors. And I didn't think I would know what to do with them. But I did. But this is the first full-size Pat McGrath palette that I ever purchased. It was this one. It wasn't the original three. I got the original three after the fact. This one is the one that I purchased. And I loved on this palette so hard. I had the original black packaging. And then she came out with Divine Rose 2, and she came out with limited edition packaging for the original. So what I wound up doing was selling my black one on like Mercari or whatever and buying this one. And I'm so glad I did. I love this packaging so much. It's so beautiful. I don't use this as much as I used to because I feel like I've graduated from this palette. This is a great beginner palette for Pat McGrath. But it is not, I feel like once you move past Divine Rose 1, you kind of don't really go back to Divine Rose 1 as much. Divine Rose 2. So I bought the limited edition packaging for both. So this is Divine Rose 2 and the limited edition packaging. This is what she looks like. I'm sure you've seen her a bajillion times. She's pretty. I still prefer Divine Rose 1. I do. But I do like this one, and I have the limited edition packaging, and I'm not getting rid of it. So yeah. And then we have all of the others that have since been released. And I don't have all of the palettes anymore. I'm no longer a completionist with my Pat McGrath, so I do not own every mothership anymore. This is my... This is the palette that usurped, for a very long time, usurped Subliminal in my heart. This is the beautiful Midnight Sun. This palette, the love I have for this palette is, like, I would say that they're tied. Like, I love this one, but I still love my baby Subliminal so much. Yeah, I love this palette. I do. And the reason why I'm really going through these, because I want to have a little, we're going to have a little tete-a-tete. And I talked about this before in a video about her formula and the evolution of her formula. And yeah, so this is Bronze Temptation. And ironically, this is probably her most popular outside of Divine Rose. This is probably her, because this came out, I believe, before Divine Rose. And this was her most popular up until that point. People love this palette. It's a beautiful palette. It really, really is. It's a beautiful, beautiful palette. It's not my favorite, though. It's not the one that makes my heart sing as much as, like, Midnight Sun does, or even Subliminal. But it's beautiful. She's beautiful. She's beautiful. And these are two holidays that we'll touch on in a mo. But this is where her formula really started to evolve and change, is with these. So I have Sunlit Seduction, I have Utopian Dream, and I have Moonlit Seduction. So I was prepared. I was really annoyed that she was coming out with motherships that no longer had special shades in them. And the first one she released that didn't have any special shades in it was, I believe, Moonlit Seduction. This is what it looks like. It looks kind of like an expanded version of Deep Space Divinity. It's pretty. I actually got a lot of use out of this palette. I wasn't expecting to, but I actually got so much use out of this palette. It's beautiful. These are not special shades. They're just like high shine, very glittery shades. They're not her special shades. It's a nice palette. But I was kind of like, what you doing? What you doing, Pat? Why are we releasing $125 palettes with no special shades? Not there, lady. This is Sunlit Seduction. And this is, I believe, the last one that I purchased from the brand. This is my least favorite. I think this formula is fine. It's fine. These shades are pretty. They are usable and impactful and very nice. This palette is basic AF. And it does not warrant an $129 price tag. Period. I said what I said. I meant it. I said it with my whole chest. This is pretty. This is probably my least used. It's the one. Oh, and also my packaging came like completely like destroyed. That was a whole saga getting these palettes, and it wasn't necessarily Pat's fault, but it was like their customer service. It was shipping, but yeah, my palettes came all wonky because I bought that one and I bought I think it was Utopian Dream. I bought two at once. I could be wrong. This is Utopian Dream. I actually really like this one, and I wasn't expecting to, but as you can see, like this one came out first and then this one came out, and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, these are the same. Like, these tones are these tones. Like, you do have special shades. You do have the baked special shades in this one. Again, this was the last one that I think she did that had the special shades in it. Moonlit Seduction was, I believe, the 10th. And this is the 11th. So this is the 9th, 10th, 11th. I did not get the 12th one. I wasn't impressed with the color story with that. Yeah. But I actually got more use out of this one than I did from this one, from Sunlit Seduction, for sure. So, yeah. So, getting to Mother Pat. You know, there was a whole thing going on about rumors about her formula changing. Her formula has changed. She has done away with, and I don't know if it's because she's using a different lab now, and so those formulas are proprietary to her formula lab. But let me move this so this is not out of focus, because it's just focusing on the model's face. I don't know if that's because those were proprietary and so she can no longer like use those formulas because she's no longer in business with that lab. I do not know. But I do know that I don't think without those shades, those palettes warrant the price tag. Simple as that. And as a result, I think all of the ones that she's producing now do not have special shades. She's reformulated those shades that were formerly special shades with a different formula. And so for me, one of the reasons why I will hold on to these is because these are the ones that have the special formula and the new ones do not. It's as simple as that, guys. I don't like, if you're interested in those palettes because of the color story, I think that's fantastic. Go for it. But if you're looking for the special shades, they are no more. They really aren't. And I know they tried to sort of say, oh no, but these formula, no, they were talking in kind of like double talk, and those palettes do not exist anymore. These palettes that I have on here that I showed you do not exist anymore. I was going to show you some Lisa Eldridge, but let me show you the two holiday palettes that I have from her. So I have this one, which I believe is the colorful one. Hold on. Ugh. Not my fave. If I were to declutter something, it'd probably be this one. I don't know if I'm going to, though. I don't think I am. This is one of my favorite palettes. This is one of my favorite palettes that came out that year. And this is the one that is, what is the name of this one? Celestial Odyssey. I freaking love this palette, and I really need to dip back into it. I love this palette. There's nothing a whole lot special about it, but I don't know. Oh, hold on. Is this giving Phoenix? Is this giving Phoenix? It's giving Phoenix. I can't get to Phoenix because I have so many palettes, but this is giving Phoenix, guys. I knew I had it somewhere. I'm like, I've got an orange like that somewhere. Come on, man. I own a million bajillion palettes. I had to have it. And I do, and I have it in a Pat McGrath. Look at that. But yeah, so that is the deal with the Pat McGrath motherships. I say purchase if you like the color story, but if you're purchasing because you want to try the special shades, maybe you can find them on Mercari. I just don't overpay for them, okay? Last but not least are the two other Lisa Eldridge palettes that I own. This is Sorcery. I love this. I've traveled with this. These metallics are absolutely stunning. I don't love her. She has a cream to powder formula as well, and I still feel like she's working that one out because I still don't love it. But so I kind of really don't use this, but I use all these other ones. They're beautiful. This is Vega. This is another one that I love the story, but the formula is... I keep it though because I do love the color story, but these cream to powders are just, they're meh. They're meh. All right, guys, so that is my declutter. Let me count up everything that I'm actually getting rid of, and then we will wrap up. And this is video 4. This was so long. I have so much to I have so much to edit. But yes, let me go grab all of the palettes that I have decluttered and we'll count them up. All right, I didn't get rid of a lot, guys. I got rid of 17 palettes. And I think the reason for that is the previous year I did a pretty brutal declutter. And so I knew that when I did this eyeshadow palette sort of like declutter collection video that I wasn't going to be getting rid of a ton, but I knew I wanted to get rid of more. So I'm actually quite happy with that. I think in the coming year, this might even get whittled down more once I do, like if I go into like end of 2026, there are things that I'll probably want to do away with. But I have a couple of like ranking videos coming up that I need palettes for and like review that videos that I need palettes for. So this feels very like this kind of went the way that I thought I was going to go. I'm not going to declutter the Lime Crime Venus XL yet. It is on the chopping block, but I'm keeping it because I really do want to see if I can dupe those shades, if I have all those shades that I can dupe, and then I'll be willing to let it go, which I think is fair. All right. That is it, guys. I am tired. I have been filming all day. It is now almost 5 p.m. I've been filming since like 12. I'm tired. I have finished all of the videos. I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now.